Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, welcome. My name is Braden Timmons, and today, happy Halloween everybody. We are going to be ranking every single Halloween movie from the worst to the best, because Halloween Kills came out this year. I was going to do this for a Myers Monday episode, but I was like, you know what? Halloween, it's my favorite day of the year. I thought that I can rank all of the Halloween movies, and you know, I was also looking on the channel. I thought that I had already ranked the Halloween movies at one point. I haven't. I've only ever ranked all of the masks, and I do now have an updated ranking coming. Obviously, you guys know I've been very busy with the Haddonfield Nightmare, which is currently now streaming on my YouTube channel. If you guys haven't had a chance to see it, it is an unofficial Halloween fan film that is a sequel to Halloween H2O. So highly encourage you guys to check that out. But yeah, guys, we're going to stop and we're going to rank all of these movies. Now, I just want to say that I'm going to throw this disclaimer out there. This is all just my opinion, guys, okay? You guys don't have to hate on me because I have a different opinion on where a film places on my list than it might on your list, right? We're going to disagree, and that's okay. So just please be respectful of my ranking and everybody else's ranking in the comment section, because this might surprise you a little bit. But everybody knows my thoughts on Halloween Kills. My review is up, my spoiler review, I should say, is up with Destiny and Chad on my channel, so you guys can go and watch that right now. I'm not going to keep you guys waiting too much longer. Let's dive right into this thing. We have 12 Halloween movies to rank, so let's get into it. Clocking in for me in last place at number 12 is going to Halloween Resurrection. I honestly don't think that there was a decision that was made that was right in Halloween Resurrection. I will give it the fact that in some scenes, specifically the scene with Busta Rhymes, not the one where he karate chops Michael Myers out the window, but the scene where Busta dresses up as Michael Myers, and then they have like a little face-off with one another. I do like the way that the shadows are presented on Myers' mask. I think that looks pretty damn cool. But other than that, I think that the decision to kill off Laurie Strode right in the beginning of Halloween Resurrection after her victorious ending in Halloween H2O, I think it was just a huge smack in the face of the character. I didn't think that was, you know, cool. I just hated that entire scene in the beginning, and then the rest of the movie, I mean, it just kind of explains itself. Like we get freaking Busta Rhymes karate chopping Michael Myers out of a window at the Myers house, and just the whole thing, I do think it was a little ahead of its time with the whole online video streaming and everything, like with the Dangertainment. Cool concept. I feel like if that was maybe like brought out today, that might be a little bit better. So when it comes down to Halloween Resurrection, it's definitely my least favorite of the franchise, and that clocks in at number 12. Coming in at number 11 for me is Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. Now, I do know that this film has actually gotten a little bit more love by fans over the years, but to me, it just still isn't one that I really enjoy. I think that the continuity in this one is incredibly off. The way that the Myers house looks in this film, it looks nothing like the original Myers house. Like, this is literally, I feel like the producers were just like, who gives a shit? We're just making another Halloween movie. The Myers house looks nothing alike. The mask in this one isn't anything to write home about. I mean, it's actually a terrible looking mask. I will say Donald Pleasance does a great job with the material that he is presented. Danielle Harris does a great job with the material that she's presented. I just think that this story could have been so much better if they would have expanded off of that ending from Halloween 4, which is one of the best endings in the entire franchise. So Halloween 5 doesn't necessarily do it for me as a Halloween fan, and that clocks in at number 11. Bringing us into the top 10 is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Now, I've said this in the past. You guys know how I feel about Rob Zombie's Halloween films. If you guys have been following me for a while, actually, you guys can go over to House of the Living Dead's channel. We actually had a showdown. It was me and Chad versus Chris and Destiny, and we did a showdown regarding like how bad Halloween 2 is versus how good they say that Halloween 2 is. But I said it's definitely not the worst in the franchise, but it's also not the best, and that's why it comes in at number 10 on my list. There are some things that Rob Zombie does in that movie that I really like. There are a lot of things that I really don't like. Like, for example, Myers talking at the end. I hate that. I don't really like what they did with Dr. Loomis in Halloween 2. I thought that he was a completely different Loomis than we saw in Halloween 2007. And then he does have a decent character character arc, but I will say that this movie has a very powerful scene with Brad Dourif playing Sheriff Brackett when he finds Annie. I do have to say that that is a major redeeming factor of this movie, is that scene alone, man. It is powerful stuff, and I think that Rob Zombie, he's not even on the list of worst filmmakers, man. I think that the man is a good filmmaker. I just think that I'd like to see him start directing other people's scripts, and I think he might be a lot better. But that's just me. I do like Halloween 2007, but obviously we haven't gotten there yet. But Halloween 2 2009, not the worst, not the best, but it still has a lot of issues for me as a Halloween fan, so that comes in at number 10. Bringing us to number 9 is Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers. And the reason that this is at number 9 on my list is just because it's not necessarily my favorite Halloween movie, but it's also not necessarily my least favorite Halloween movie. I think that Paul Rudd does a decent job as Tommy Doyle. This is the movie that introduced the gem that Paul Rudd is and, kickstarted his acting career. I'm a huge Paul Rudd fan. I think that he is awesome in anything he does, and I think that he does pretty decent in this movie. You can criticize Halloween films for the acting and whatever, but I do think that for the material that he's given, he does good. Myers is a bit too chunky in this movie, if you ask me. I think that there are some scenes where it looks like he had like one too many Snickers bars. But Michael, I do like the mask in this film. I think that it's one of the better looking masks after that original mask that we got from Halloween and Halloween 2. And then this is the whole wrapping up of the Thorn trilogy, and me personally, I'm not a huge fan of what they do with Thorn. Like, obviously Halloween 5 was like the big one where it was introducing the Man in Black, and then this film really furthered that with Dr. Wynn being in charge of all of the Thorn stuff and whatnot. I do think that the producer's cut is a bit better, so it also depends on what cut we're talking about here. So right now I'm just strictly talking about the theatrical cut, but the producer's cut of this film is better. So if you're going to watch this, highly encourage you to watch the producer's one, because it does go a little bit further into the story, and it explains more about, the whole child thing and the baby and all that shit. But still not my favorite Halloween film, so that comes in at number 9. Bringing us to number 8 is Rob Zombie's Halloween. Now, I do really like how Zombie decided to try and give Michael Myers a backstory, even though as Halloween fans, we do not need a Michael Myers backstory, because the whole mystery of Michael Myers is what we love, right? We don't need to understand how Myers gets from point A to point B in certain scenes, or we don't have to understand how Laurie was able to look into her backyard, see Michael standing in Mr. Riddle's backyard, and then literally disappearing without her even looking away. We don't need to know anything like that. So we specifically don't need to know what the backstory is, but I do have to say, I think that Zombie does a good job at giving us what Michael could have been going through in his home life and how he became that deranged serial killer. And I do think that Tyler Mane is perhaps still one of the most, and actually not even perhaps, he is still one of the most menacing Michael Myers is to date, man. He's freaking like 7'8", and he is absolutely terrifying, man. Like, he's just when he's in costume, terrifying sight to look at. I do like Tyler Mane as the character of Myers. I did think it was a little odd that they decided to show his eyes, but I also thought that it made sense with the story and everything. We had seen Myers' eyes, like when he was in Smith's Grove. You could see like the masks and everything. And I do think that this movie is very well directed, and it does have a couple good callbacks to John Carpenter's original, but it's also got a lot of Rob Zombie elements to it. So if a filmmaker is going to be remaking something, he definitely brings his own flavor. He brings that Rob Zombie flavor to it, which is something that you want. You want your voice to be heard in the movie that you're telling, right? But this movie is definitely nowhere near the worst Halloween film. It's nowhere near Resurrection, so that's why Rob Zombie's Halloween comes in at number 8. Bringing us to number 7 on this list is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. And this is where some of you were like, are you serious? How is this one better than Rob Zombie's Halloween? But what do you call it? Halloween 3, man, it's grown on me over the years. Now, a few years ago during the Halloween season of 2018, I was actually watching all of the films, and I really didn't like it. But after I watched it a couple more times, I'm like, you know what? I don't necessarily watch this with a with the title Halloween in my mind, and I think that that's what makes me, like this even more, is I just look at it as its own standalone thing, because this is where John Carpenter wanted to take the series after Halloween 2. It was supposed to be an anthology series, and now I actually just saw, not too long ago, I saw like a fan-made poster. It was like Halloween 4 Return of the Witch, and people were like, oh, I would have loved to see this film. And it's funny how all these years later, even though it didn't get the best critical reviews when it first came out, and it still doesn't really get the best fan reviews, it has definitely developed a cult following. But I love the whole Season of the Witch thing. I love the whole Silver Shamrock thing, and I just love that entire element of it, and I really think that it feels like a Halloween movie when you watch this thing. I like the witchcraft element behind it, and I look at it again as its own standalone story, and then I'd say re-examine it if you guys don't like it, because it worked for me, and I just think that this movie has a lot of really, really great elements to it. I think Tom Atkins is great in the movie. Really like his character, and even though, yeah, you can say that he's like sleeping with like a woman that's like 20 years younger than him, that's common in today's day and age. I mean, like, come on, look on the freaking internet and you'll find a whole bunch of relationships that are like that. So when it comes down to Halloween 3, it's definitely grown on my list. A few years ago, it probably would have been much, much lower, but I personally, after re-examining it, I do like Halloween 3 a lot. So Halloween 3, to me, comes in at number 7. All right, guys, we're making our way into the top 6. Coming in at number 6 for me, this was actually pretty hard, I'm not gonna lie. Like, once I got to number 6, it was quite hard to, rank where I wanted to rank all of these other ones. But it has to go to Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. And this was, again, very hard because it is one of my absolute favorites in the entire series. It was very shocking, honestly, to me when I was like, all right, yeah, this is going to be number 6. And I honestly couldn't believe it. But the one thing that, a lot of people really don't like about this movie is the Myers mask. And again, this is a mask that has actually grown on me a lot over the years. I think that, this mask, it's nowhere near as bad as Halloween 5's. And I honestly also think that it's better than Halloween Resurrections. It's just got a very, it's just got a very pale face to it. And that's basically what all of the Myers masks have. But this one, it looks a little wonkier than, say, some of the other ones, right? So I got to say that the mask definitely has grown on me. I do actually like the Halloween 4 mask a lot now, and I like the story with Halloween 4. I like how it follows Jamie Lloyd. This was the movie that introduced us to the character of Jamie Lloyd. I love the character of Rachel, and I also don't like what they did with her in Halloween 5, which is probably why that's also lower on my list, because I do, again, really like the character of Rachel. But I really like this story. I think that this has a really good story. I think that Danielle Harris gives a performance strong enough to where we're able to care about Jamie and everything. And I just really like how he's going after Laurie Strode's daughter. I really, really do enjoy that. And the whole Jamie Lloyd thing has become very popular in the Halloween franchise, and fans actually want a chance to see her come back as Jamie Lloyd in a future Halloween movie, maybe after Halloween Ends or something like that, which I would obviously be a fan of too. I think that would be awesome. But yeah, Halloween 4, guys, love the story, love the atmosphere, and I really think that the ending of this movie is very shocking. And honestly, had they have just ended the franchise after that, I thought that it would have been a great ending, but that's just me. So Halloween 4 comes in at number 6, and that is why. Okay, guys, now I can already start seeing some of you going like, Braden, what the fuck? Like, for like the top 5. So bringing us into the top 5 is Halloween Kills. Halloween Kills is not in the top 2 like I anticipated it was going to be. I did go into this movie with major expectations, and I did also know a lot about this movie going into it. I just didn't think that the story was as strong as I wanted it to be. The kills are absolutely awesome, and the kills are probably going to, and a few of these kills are probably going to make it in my top 10 Halloween franchise moments. I honestly think that that is going to be something that happens, or top 10 kills at least. But everything with Michael Myers in this movie I like. I do just wish that the story was going to be a bit stronger. I thought that most of these returning characters were just kind of there just for the fan service, just to say, okay, we're bringing back these returning characters, but a lot of them were literally, they got axed off, or they didn't really add anything to the story, which is pretty disappointing for me. I'm glad I've had a lot of more time to think about it this movie since it came out. I do like what they did with Tommy Doyle. I thought that if there was like a way that he was going to, be mindset wise, like this man fucked him up as a kid. He's the one that said you can't kill the boogeyman, and here he is all of these later actually trying to kill the boogeyman. I do wish, though, that he did end up surviving Halloween Kills for Halloween Ends. I do wish that we would have expanded on him a little bit more. Again, that's why I just feel like some of these characters were just there just to be throwaway characters. Even though he was a very integral element to this movie, I wanted to see more of him. So I just didn't like how he ended up going out at the end of Halloween Kills, and I also really didn't like the ending. I'm really hoping that Karen isn't dead, because I'm hoping we get a little bit more of her in Halloween Ends, because she actually did have, which I'm shocked I'm saying that because I didn't really like her in Halloween 2018, but I do think that she did have a very strong character arc in this movie, and she was definitely a lot more likable in this movie. And then there are some people that are like, Judy Greer, she can just get the hell out of this franchise for good because I hate her. I mean, I thought that she had a good character arc in this movie, but it was really the story for me that, really downplayed this film. And again, maybe I just went into it with too high of expectations, but it was a pretty big disappointment for me. So Halloween Kills comes in at number 5. Bringing us to number 4 is Halloween 2018, which is actually pretty shocking for me, actually. Like, I actually liked Halloween 2018 more than I did Halloween Kills, and I do think that it's because I liked the story a lot more in Halloween 2018, and I liked where Laurie Strode was at mentally in Halloween 2018. I thought that the way that Jamie Lee Curtis, who by the way gives an awesome performance in that film, I do think that they still downplayed her in that, and they definitely downplayed her in Halloween Kills. But I just think that Halloween 2018 also had some elements that I wish that they would have replaced with more Jamie Lee Curtis. Like, the Halloween dance shit, and how they were like, bringing about Allison up to be like, the final girl of this franchise, which I didn't think that they did a very good job on at expanding at in Halloween Kills. But Halloween 2018 definitely has a better story element to it, and it's got more classic Halloween vibes to it. Michael will just stab somebody, and it'll just be like a thud, stab, boom, they're dead. Which is obviously something I'm a fan of, being a fan of the original 1978 Halloween. It's not a very violent movie. You don't need a film to be very violent, and that's the one thing I think that Halloween Kills had going for it. Sure, the kills were awesome, but it lacked story, whereas Halloween 2018, they focused more on story, and then they kind of, just gave us the classic Halloween moments. But do love Halloween 2018, so that comes in at number 4. Bringing us to number 3 is Halloween H2O. That's right, guys. I mean, this shouldn't really shock many of you. I mean, if you guys have been around my channel for a while, you guys know I love Halloween H2O. I mean, guys, I made an unofficial sequel to Halloween H2O as a fan film, like a feature-length fan film focusing on John Tate. I love Halloween H2O, man. I think that it is an awesome Halloween movie. Sure that the Halloween atmosphere isn't necessarily there. It doesn't necessarily focus on the Halloween atmosphere. The beginning does, the very first shot of that movie, you get the woman stabbing the pumpkin to make a jack-o'-lantern with the kids. We see Marion Chambers. She ends up getting axed right in the beginning. And that is all classic Halloween stuff. And then the remainder of the movie, sure, it doesn't necessarily give us a big Halloween vibe. If anything, I do get more Scream vibes from it, but I like the story with Halloween H2O. I like where Laurie Strode is, or I should say Carrie Tate. I like where Carrie Tate's mind is, and how she tries to run from her past, and how she's trying to get over all of the trauma that has been within her family ever since the attacks of Halloween 1978. I like how she tries to move forward, and you could just feel for her. And then I like the character of John. I like how he's trying to convince his mom that Michael Myers is dead, and then Myers ends up coming back, and he goes after John and Molly. And I do think that this movie has some really great Myers moments. I think that Chris Durand is a very stealthy Michael Myers. Really like him as the character, and I just think that Halloween H2O, I like the dynamic between Laurie and Michael, and I like the confrontation more in Halloween H2O than I did in Halloween 2018. Even though I did like Halloween 2018 a lot, I think that H2O does it a bit better. But that's just my opinion, guys. So H2O comes in for me at number 3. Bringing us into the top 2 is Halloween 2, 1981. I love Halloween 2. I think that there's just something about the abandoned Haddonfield Memorial Hospital in this movie that is just so damn creepy. Like, Myers is like walking around the hospital at night. Some of the kills in this movie is so much more impressive than they were in Halloween 1978, specifically because the body count's bigger and the budget was bigger, so they were able to do a bit more with the kills, and I personally liked that. But back when this came out, people didn't necessarily like that because it was a lot more violent than it was from the previous film. But I just think that, the mood and the atmosphere and just Michael himself, I do think that Dick Warlock does a really good job in most scenes playing Michael Myers. There is a few scenes where he seems a bit stiff, if you ask me, but I do think for the most part, this is a really, really damn good Halloween movie. I love how you can literally watch Halloween 1978 and then watch this one literally back to back, and it just feels like one long night. It feels like one complete story. And I will say that obviously an issue I have with, and this is also, I guess, a critique that I have with Halloween H2O, is that at the end of this movie, Michael Myers literally walks out of the fire. He's like burning up, and he's like walking out just perfectly fine, which obviously makes sense. But you could also tell that he has like one of those big ass suits on, because he's looking quite thick. He's definitely looking thicker than the H6 one. But then, in Halloween H2O, he looks completely fine. He doesn't have like his eyes stabbed out or shot out. He got both of his eyes shot out in Halloween 2. So again, there's like a continuity thing right there. But at the end of the day, guys, I think that Halloween 2 is just such a fun movie. It feels like an excellent continuation to Halloween 1978. And that also goes out to Rick Rosenthal's direction for Halloween 2. Love Halloween 2, think it's excellent, but it's nothing compared to my number 1, which is Halloween 1978, guys. To this day, I still haven't seen a Halloween movie that has beat out Halloween 1978. Halloween 1978 is the perfect Halloween movie, specifically because it's the original. It just screams Halloween vibes. I mean, the way that Myers, stalks Laurie, and just like the way that the movie's shot, like how it was like shot for a budget of $300,000 and grossed $70 million worldwide, man. And just the way that this movie became timeless. It's very unimaginable as to how popular this franchise is still, like almost, it's only been 43 years. So almost 45 years later, guys, and we're still listening to that Halloween soundtrack. We're still, just going crazy every time like the Halloween theme starts. And this is that movie. This is one of those movies where you don't even have had to have seen Halloween. If you've never seen Halloween, you know what that theme song is. As soon as it starts playing, you're like, that's the Michael Myers theme. Again, if you've never seen Halloween, you know exactly what it is. That's how iconic it's become, guys. And I just think I haven't seen that perfect Halloween movie since that original film. So with all that being said, post your guys' comments down below. Let me know, what do you guys think? How do you guys rank the Halloween franchise? Where would you guys place each of the films? I'm very curious to hear your guys' thoughts. Please, again, guys, respect others' thoughts, respect my thoughts. These are just our opinions, guys. So hope you guys have a great rest of your guys' Halloween. And if you guys like this, don't forget to join me on my journey to 10,000 subscribers, and I will see you guys in my next video.